Okay, and we are live. Just about 4 seconds over time. Welcome to the Web3 Africa workshop stream. And we already have 4 people joining us. Really excited that you guys came in early. 6 people, interesting. How you guys feeling? How's your day going? And has been your weekend so far? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the workshop. You can join us both on Twitter. You can also join us on X. And I think we're also streaming to LinkedIn. You know how we do it. So drop your comments in the chat. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Let me know how it's going. How's been your weekend? Are you excited for the stream? Drop emojis. Let me know and see that you are part of this conversation. Today we're going to be having an exciting conversation around tools that have helping bridge the UX experience in the blockchain Web3 space. So you know how some certain things can either make your experience better or make it worse. Imagine you do not have ET scan to like see transactions and you have to like maybe go through whatever the other side of that is. That will not be good. So today we brought in somebody that's working on a very good tool. I say good tool. These are my opinions. Now you are going to make your own opinions from this. So we brought someone that is working on a set of tools that is going to elevate the experience, the user experience, and that is already been felt. And if you're a developer and you're building in this space and you're working with smart contracts, I think this is a conversation you need to be on. All right. So let me know how you're feeling. If you guys can hear me, if you guys can hear me good. We already have 11 people on the stream. I'm trying to get directly straight to the conversation so that we can have great time together and we have more time together because we don't want to keep this more than an hour like we usually do for our streams. Okay, on that note, welcome to the live stream once again. My name is Joshua, and this is the Web3 Africa workshops. Today we're bringing David Atondar, who is the creator of Bonadocs, and the very short way to understand Bonadocs is it's the postman for smart contracts. And I could go into all that to explain what that means, but I wouldn't because we have him in the backstage right now. I'm going to bring him up. He's going to introduce himself and talk a little bit about what that means. The postman for smart contracts. We're going to have a conversation and he can demonstrate the tool to us and we can have a good time. So please drop your comments and gather your questions as we have this conversation. So on that note, I'm going to bring David on stage now. Hi, David. How are you doing? I think you're muted.
Oh, you can hear me now.
Yes, I can, absolutely. What's up?
Oh, okay.
How you doing?
Yeah, it's great to be here. I feel like we probably should have done this a long time ago, but it's never too late to get to this.
Glad
Um,
we're doing it now. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I think I've been a big fan of like the work Web3 Africa has been doing over the years,
Oh,
right? Because it's not easy to like run a community at this level and be able to keep it engaged up to this point. I'm here to I'm happy to share what we're building with Bonadocs and how this can potentially improve developer workflows.
yes. And that is why we're here. I think when we're discussing about like the topic for this live stream, we had like a little bit of, there was a first idea and then we kind of decided, okay, postman for smart contracts. And that is a very interesting blanket term. What I'm sure people will be wondering, what exactly does that mean? And what exactly is Bonadocs? Uh, if you could drop like some just talk about that for a bit and about yourself. How long have you been working on it, and a little bit about the background behind the project? That would be nice.
Yeah, so with Bonadocs, the initial idea was to build an environment where by the time you're done with your smart contracts, with basically like the on-chain part of it, like you deploy the contracts and all of that stuff is deployed. We need a way to like interact with those contracts in such a way whereby it's more user focused. meaning
Mm,
usually the smart contracts have like smart contract methods. So these methods are like individual. You can think of them like endpoints. You can think of them like endpoints, right? So we need to like make those smart contract methods usable to like a front end developer or an app developer to be able to integrate this into an actual user application. For context, like I've been studying about using Uniswap, like using Uniswap to be able to create yield um, within like regular like fintech apps, right? So you can think of recreating what you have with like savings, or what you have with like DCA into different assets, or to in this case DCA into different liquidity pools, and being able to get like yield at the end of the year, like APYs and stuff like that. So that's taking like the smart contract that Uniswap has, right? And then converting it into actual user actions that day-to-day users can basically use without even realizing they are, doing anything on chain. So that's the same idea, right? So that how do we take smart contracts and make them usable within applications? So even like non-Web3 devs, right, that just like regular JavaScript devs, React devs, they should be able to integrate smart contracts into the application without, going down the rabbit hole of understanding what's going on behind the scenes, because most core Web3 teams, they don't really see it that way. They see it more from the angle of, oh, the front end dev should also be able to understand like smart contracts, right, and be probably able to write smart contracts, so they basically get what is going on. But the more we start to like expand, and the more Web3 starts to sort of like, we're entering like an hybrid phase right now,
mm.
in the industry, where a bunch of like Web3 stuff is beginning to like integrate with like Web2. And so we need to like simplify that form of integration, so anybody can basically integrate, whatever smart contract, whatever device protocol into their app.
I am in total agreement. I think the experience you get, some of those things are abstractions, right? How to make it easier for somebody else to use a thing without having to worry about the complexity behind the thing. And I think that's why I love the uh, one of the things that Farcaster that makes Farcaster interesting was there's a little bit of still you're still exposed to some of the oh, you're buying a token, you're paying for USDC for a year or something, but
Yeah.
other people have tried some of those things, and I don't think they removed some of those complexities as much as possible. So interesting. That is good. I think we can share your screen now, and then we can see Bonadocs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring it up on page.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I'm very eager to see a demo and to see it. And okay, I think we can see our screen now. Glad to be here. Oh,
Yes.
hi
We
Adam,
can.
welcome to the stream. I Web3 opportunities. Hello, nice to have you around. Okay, so we have Bonadocs live on cam. Okay,
Yeah.
so smart contract integrations. You have the floor.
Okay. So I think the core. So we have like sub products or like sub tools. I think that's the right word. So we have something called DocGen that basically allows you to generate a Docsiro documentation, um, with actual smart contract methods. So, for instance, if you have like two smart contracts with like different methods for each of them, we're able to like generate a Docsiro docs that basically takes those smart contract methods and convert them into widgets, right? So once they are widgets, you're able to like, interact with them within the documentations. I think there is an example um, here, right? So it's able to like generate something like this and give you convert the smart contract method into widgets, basically allowing you to interact the um, with the method directly from the doc. So if you're done, you can basically share it with somebody else, and they can interact with it directly from you know
Wait,
rated docs.
wait. Wait. You mean Bonadocs can take a smart contract? and ship out a documentation like this and make each of the methods more like the widgets you have in Web 2, calling the APIs directly in the platform, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So if I take us to docs.bonadocs.com,
Okay.
we have it under docgen. So it basically allows you to go from your code base, just that you have to be using hard hat. Um, right, you're able to go ahead to like generate an entire docsiro docs. So there is the low level, you have to change your config to
Mm,
accommodate all of these parameters. You have to import like bonadoc.gem, which is the hard hat plugin for Bonadocs, and you then run it, then generate something like this. So this, for instance, is a sample one that was generated. I should also drop the link to this in the chat. Where do I drop it here?
you can drop it in maybe in the private chat. Hi, Olamileko, nice to have you around. How you doing? Hi, Idris. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, you can drop it in the private chat. I'm just going to share it in the. These are interesting things, and I wonder how if this is the first time you're hearing about this feature, especially from maybe the Bonadoc side, let me know in the chat so we can see, and because this is my first time I'm seeing this and I'm excited as well. Uh, that you can actually go from having like a bunch of the way you have the backend swagger, right? If where you can generate like the API docs sort of thing. This is interesting. I think this is pretty useful. Kind the widgets right now, is there like a demo we can see from the widget in action or
Oh, for sure. So this is a write contract method. So many times because their write method, you need to like approve and stuff like that. So I'm looking for like a simpler one that we
okay,
can use. Let's just use the one from
all right.
more for rather. So this like a simple one, for instance, like a read. Right. So you're able to get back, the owner of this contract, the address, that's the owner of the contract, which is the Morpho Blue contract. So if
Okay.
you go to, I don't know if we should go to their docs. I think we'll just use the AI search, so we don't have to. Hmm, okay, I think this is it here. So
Okay.
similarly, right, we can see. I think if we go to Etherscan, let's see. Hopefully, I'm in the correct. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can also see that instead of going to like Etherscan to search for that particular contract method or that particular contract and how to interact with it. If you have this in your docs, you're able to enable like integration. You're able to enable like interaction within your docs without having to go to an external um, place like Etherscan to like read stuff about your contract. So now you can enable both interaction and documentation in the same place. Right. And this also works on like other documentation frameworks like Mentalify, because that's what um is most people are using right now because of the amazing UX. Um it also works. So basically it means that you can interact with just the widget also, like even outside of this whole doc gen experience. You can integrate just the widgets within whatever docs you have. So if you also go under widgets, you would see that here is the docs. We have everything inside of it. So you're using the widgets in Amplify, and by default, you can also use like other React applications. So even though like we'll get to that in a bit, right? Because you would have to set up a playground where you would import your contracts, able to like get out the individual contract method widgets that you want to add into your XML docs or whatever React application, because it's a React um the React components basically. Also, it also works like HTML because that's how um it's done using Amplify. You would load it from a CDN, then from there create elements and the rest of it, and we're able to generate um the exact widget that you need, within React. So yeah, it's basically integratable into like regular front ends using frameworks, or just like use a CDN directly into your HTML app, or your external whatever other frameworks basically. So I think the main thing is still the playground, right? So the playground is an environment that basically allows you to play with the smart contracts, have like a risk free zone of some sort where you can test out app integrations into into the smart contract that exists. So whether you're using like an external smart contract like in Uniswap, basically like popular protocol, or you have your own in-house contract, you can import it into this environment and interact with it using like ethers or VM, right? So if you take a look at um, let me take it all the way back. Yeah. So go to playground at bonadocs.com. Let me log in. Sorry, give me a second.
Yeah, it's fine. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the live stream. We have David Attenborough on the stream, and we are working through Bonadocs, the Postman for smart contracts, which is a collection of tools that gives you better experience with going from code to proper documentation, or having a documentation that has track the widgets and stuff like that. So if you are excited about that, let me know in the comments. I think I see some comments already, and you're welcome to the stream. All right, so David, I think we are logged in, right?
Yeah, we are logged in right now. So you
Awesome.
have like, so I've been working on like setting protocol within the playground. So you can see, so you have like create a team, then you have projects under, so per project like per playground. Um, so if we're to create a new project,
Can you zoom it in? Uh,
okay,
no,
or
just
actually,
like command
just,
command plus, and maybe use light mode. Is it possible?
we don't use light mode. We don't have light mode here.
Okay, zoom it in again. Because okay, maybe this is it then. Okay.
Or I could switch to, actually, let me present a different screen.
Okay, I just wanted to, because if it's tiny for me, I'm guessing it's probably going to be tiny for other people too as well. Or maybe if you can see it, let me know. Maybe it's on my end. Okay, I'm gonna add you to stage again. Okay.
Does this work?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. Beautiful. Pretty,
Uh,
pretty.
what about now? Is this tiny?
Ah, I think we are definitely far from where we started. Very good. We can move on.
Oh, okay. So we create a new project and we name it. So I like using like something. Let's just name it like stablecoin. Um, let's see a project to. So let's in this project we're adding, stable coins into this environment, right? So people want to like interaction with stable coins, or we really just want to like, I don't know, maybe in our app we're getting like several stable coins for people to use, and maybe they can select from what they want and make transfers, or they are using different kind of stable coins to deposit it inside protocols to gain yield, or to handle like collateral like lending and all that stuff. So we say USDT, right? Theta contract pegged to the USD currency. Okay, I think I'll probably skip the descriptions just so we're cognizant of time. So for instance, USDT is available on Ethereum, right? It's also available on Arbitrum. So we'll add both. Then we can add the contract address. So usually I go to CoinMarketCap to get our correct addresses. So you come here, you do Ethereum, you also need the Arbitrum address. If I'm correct, I get the right address. Okay, B9, B9.
Hmm.
So we've added for USDT right now. We can add another contract, right? You can add, yes, let's do DAI. I think DAI is also available on both chains. I'm not sure it's available on Arbitrum, but let me confirm. Hmm. Interesting. I didn't know they had been rebranded to USD.
USDS. Okay.
That's interesting. So you can also copy the Ethereum address. Okay, they are on Arbitrum too. Hmm. Then we come here on Arbitrum, and we can also add this. So what happened here? Like it has to load it from Etherscan's API. So with the address, we're able to load in the ABI. So you can also like input it manually there, but for ease, we just allow you paste the address and we generate the API. So from here, you can create your project. Um, and you have this stablecoin USD project set up here. So if I click
Okay.
on it, it
So
should
all that
open.
process was to sort of like import get the address and create like the add the protocols or like the contracts to the environment, right?
Yeah, so the idea is that you can, because it's a more front end application focused playground, right? So for some certain playgrounds, right, you can also interact with Solidity. You can use Solidity to interact with the contracts. But because we are looking at it more from an application point of view, which is what Ethereum is focused on right now, is enabling more and more application use cases. We feel like we spent a lot of time like building contracts, even with contracts like even with protocol like Uniswap and the introduction of the V4 and hooks, you also have other protocols that now automates yield on the Uniswap protocol. For instance, people like Beefy and the rest of those other um, automated liquidity protocols, right? So now we can actually just integrate all of these things into like front end applications. Obviously, we can have our own backend also, right?
Mm.
Because that just basically interacts with basically like indexes data and all that stuff that currently happens. Because right now, if you're building, like for most of the big real life projects, not even just big ones, the regular real life projects right now, it is the combination of contracts, the combination of contracts with backend, is separate backend that indexes data, interacts with the contract also. Then SDKs also to simplify integrations, and you have the front end interaction. So all of these three things still link back into the front end app, right? So we're saying once you've done all these things, you've written your APIs, you've written your contract, you're using an existing contract, you have your
Mm.
SDK or whatever, right? You can do everything, you can interact everything within the playground from the point of view of an app, right? So what we've been able to do, we've been able to add in, USDT, um, and the DAI contract, like both token contracts, right? So if you check something like symbol, um, you can get USDT. That's the name of the symbol on the contract. By default, we are simulation inclined. We're simulation first. So what that means is you are able to simulate whatever interaction without having to interact directly on chain, meaning you're able to do all of these things without connecting your wallet, right? Because usually the way it works is like you have to connect your wallet, to and use like gas fees and all that stuff to interact. But what we are trying to also do is to enable you to interact with the smart contracts the same way you do APIs. So you don't need to like put in your wallet or like be bothered about maybe signing something you shouldn't sign, and you lose funds or whatever. Like you can
Mm.
operate independently as a playground where you can also connect your wallet as you can see here, right? But in this case, we're also like simulation first. Okay, oh yeah, just simulate this directly. So to do that, we are using like other tooling in the industry that industry standard to enable to use their simulation engine to enable this within the playground. So
Uh,
tenderly build beer.
Someone like
I don't,
Tenderly.
yeah, exactly, and build beer right now. Um, I think build beer basically allows you to tenderly have the APIs for sure. They also
Mm.
have the virtual testnet, which
Mm.
is basically a forked mainnet that offers you everything the mainnet offers you. So it offers a dedicated faucet. I feel like everybody should actually check it out. So you go tender the
Yeah, Tenderly. You can you can create your own like test nets to simulate and
yeah,
do stuff.
exactly.
With real life accounts, real life things, but it's you like made it like your own sandbox. What do you call that one? Build beer. Build. Oh,
Yeah, build beer.io.
I just want to share that with my folks. So in case you guys are curious, you can check out buildbeer.io. You can also check out Tenderly. Yeah, Tenderly as well. So, okay. All right.
Yeah. I guess we can get back to
Yeah,
it.
get back to it. Yeah. So now that we've brought in, now that you've imported like the contracts, you've added the smart contracts for Ethereum, for USDC, and then for DAI as well. What can we do aside from like the simulation? Can you show something else we can do directly there?
Yeah, so you can like interact with the methods, right? This is what we just did. You interacted with the methods, and we're able to, you know, call each method,
Okay.
right? So this total supply, so this current hexadecimal, so you have to convert to decimals to like, get the actual number in decimals. So you also have things like variables. So variables is basically environment variable, right? You can add variables here, like addresses and stuff, then use it, here, or you can also use it in actions, right? So I think environment variables the same way you think of like using the same .env variables in your React app or wherever you would normally like interact, or you normally like build, whether even in like Node and the rest, right? So I'm trying to
Mm,
pull up a sample of how we can um, test it out. Give me a second.
okay.
Okay, so we've interacted with the method, so we need to interact with the actions now. So the actions is basically an environment, like a JavaScript environment, where you can write out JavaScript that interacts with the contract. So using like ethers in particular. So let's just say transfer, and you have select the simulation engine. Obviously, you can also just use a regular testnet, which wouldn't like require you to, which wouldn't require you to like use any simulation engine. You have to like make sure that if you're using a testnet, you have the tokens in your address, right, in the account that you want to use for that demo interaction. And so whoever is testing that out is making sure they are actually interacting with something that works. So for this one, we would use build beer, and we would use um, let's use Ethereum. So we then create it. So what you have here is a boilerplate that basically shows you that okay, here you can see it has already injected into the environment for you, right? It
Mm,
has injected automatically. Um, so you impute the build bear RPC here, you impute the token that you would want to use for the interaction. Right, in our case, we want to impute like USDT, um, and yeah, you have the provider also where it then we then initiate the provider, initiate the signer um, directly from here. You can log the block number just to be sure that you are up and working. And here we then like fund with gas, and um we fund it with the faucets, right? And you can then go ahead to do whatever you want to do with the contract, right? You initiate the contract also here. And so we have like a Bonadocs contract that allows you to basically access the contracts that are inside the playground.
cool. Do I see that you have like variables? Can you also use the variables inside here as well?
Yeah, actually, you can use the variables here. So I think if you even do, let me just do something like, there. I don't know. Bonadocs. just log Bonadocs. Let me see what it gives. Right. So inside of it, you can see you have your contracts, you have your ABIs, right, and every other thing is inside. You also have your variables actually.
Mm.
So we have like this whole var one quality that I must have added somewhere. Right. So we add another variable here. And I see var two, and let's say we just paste an address, just a random address. And we run this again. You can see you have var2 here. So it's
Mm.
Bonadocs dot variables. I think should be like var one. I think this should work. So you can see you
Oh,
get like quality. So if you wanted to use like maybe added like a private key or something here, right? You can definitely do Bonadocs dot variables, um, and the private key, the name of the private key that you named it, right? And you get back your private key inside of here. So I think I'm trying to go back to the boilerplate code that we added, and I think it's deleted already. I don't want to write it out myself again. Um, okay, let's just try to create another one. We delete that one that we just did. Aha, we are back. So what we
yes.
need to do. So first of all, let's add our RPC URL here. Um, from there. Let's confirm. Okay, it's enter. So contract address of the token on the network, right? So that would be, I think it's already written here. So uh, I need to log that again just to be sure. Okay. So you get directly from these Bonadocs dots, but I'm also trying to just copy directly from here. So C7. Uh, right. So now that we added the RPC URL and added the token on the network, we should be able to then fund both gas fees and fund the address with the sign address with the USDC tokens. Right. The only issue is we're generating a random address that would be used. So I think we can as well just write it down. Uh,
Can someone
okay.
change the name of that console, or it's always going to be on the left?
What did you say?
Hey, and the position of the console, is it something that someone can move around? Like, I noticed that you keep scrolling, like the console to the right. Yes. Is it possible to bring it towards like the bottom so you can have like the way you have console on browsers?
Is it like to be able to pull this forward and backwards?
Yeah, and then maybe take this and put it under.
And take
You
what?
understand?
Sorry.
The console to your right.
Oh, okay,
because
okay. Oh, so
yeah,
currently
so
you actually cannot
it's
do that.
it
But I
to the
think I should
bottom.
add that
And
feature.
yeah, that would be nice because it seems all of the code that would be inside that space would overflow to the right
Yeah,
bottom.
so like most times, because I use like a bigger screen anytime I want to work with this,
Oh,
I don't really notice that stress. You know, yeah, a smaller screen have to like, switch.
yeah.
And also because you're writing the code, well, actually you're right, whether you're writing the code or not, right, you should still be able to determine how you want to see it. If you want to like pull this to the edge and like actually see all of the code at once. I definitely agree with that. I think you're right. Um,
That's a perfect thing. You always like. Okay, David, can you walk us back through like we right now we are putting an action and the action is using the smart contracts that we've added to the project, right? We created a project at the beginning, stablecoin USD, and we added some contracts to it. And now we are creating actions more like using those contracts that we've added and just writing things that we can use to interact with them right here, right?
yeah, exactly. So here we are. I just mentioned we are using like Beer as our network to
Mm,
interact with the different contracts, right? So also like, and this is just ethers, right? Um, we also have VM. So I think VM is something that everybody's currently into right now, right? And there's a lot of hype around it. So I think it's also something we could explore, which is testing out with VM to see what that integration would look like. But yeah, just for like ethers, this is how it works for the most part. You can then initiate your contract here and then use it. Right. So I have to uh give me a second. Let me
okay, if you're still with us, drop a comment. Let me know if you have questions or you're curious about certain parts of Bonadocs that David can speak to. The packages section, what it does do
okay,
the
so it
package.
allows you to add different packages into the environment and use it. Right. But currently we encourage people to like basically interact with the packages using um like the URLs. So for instance, GitHub is already integrated here. So if you basically run this, then just run this right now before we jump into VM. Right. So number one, you're able to see the block number of
Mm,
the um the network we're using, right? And we then the native faucet is done. So what native faucet does is like basically fund with gas fees, and for the ERC20 faucets, it basically funded it with USDT. So if you come here, you should see. Let me go to the Explorer. I think you can see 1 minute ago. 1 minute
mm.
ago. So it just like funded it with both faucets. So okay. So let's use VM to look at how to perform transactions also. So let's just do transfer VM. I'm basically trying to cover both just so people understand how to, make use of both. So let's do tenderly virtual testnets on Ethereum. Yes. So Let me clear this. There's no need for all of this. I already wrote this code just before the call, just for you know quick demo, so we don't spend too much time doing all of that. Let me clear this. Okay, actually, no, let me leave that commented out. So what is happening here? Let me replace all of this with tenderly network. Yep, it did replace it. So I just repeated. Okay, so let me explain what's going on. Um, Let me give me a second. Um, so what's going on here is I added like a private key. Hmm. I added a private key here. Right, this is an address. Right, and within this private key, so here within this private key, we are able to convert it to the actual address here. Right, so this thing, right, with VM, or with an environment like this, one thing I like to do a lot of times is to make it like holistical. Meaning, if somebody wants to interact with this, or if somebody was supposed to integrate this, they should understand how it to like work independently, right? So you would have like a private key like this, which is the account. So if, for instance, someone interacting with this, they're basically using, they're really connecting their wallet, to interact with this, or using like Privy or the rest. But if you have the private key of that account, you can sort of, you know, demo that experience, right? You can sort of demo the experience to um, act as if they are connecting their wallet. So in this case, when you're going to connect your wallet, as I said earlier, you can just paste in the private key or keep the private key of variables and use it here. So here you have the private key, the account, right? So convert VM allows you to like convert this to the account, right? So you have the private keys. I think that's supposed to even import VM also here. If we missed that. So here we have
If you can,
VM.
more like bringing npm directly into Bonadocs, so you can search for whatever package you need and install it.
Yeah, although like it's not completely bulletproof right now. So although I'm sure like VM and ETAs work, I know Lodash also works. But I added the information how to do that in the documentation, so you can go through that to be sure of what you can import or what you
Mm.
should just import to like URL like this. So for instance, now we're importing this, we are using like the ESM link to be able to use it. So to initiate a client on VM, you do that the whole create public client. You have the chain, you have the transport, um, and you add in the RPC URL. I already changed that. Okay, let me change that here. Um, RPC. Good. So while doing this, you have the client, with the wallet client, the same thing. You associate it with the account that just been created And here we have the right contract that initiates like the USDT address, transfer, which is the method we want to do, and the address is transferring to and how much USDT is transferring from the address. Then it's the data that all these USDT transfer is sent, and here is the hash. So it waits for the confirmation, then tells USDT transfer confirmed, and you are good to go. I hope this works because I've not opened up the Tenderly sandbox. So if it doesn't work, we'd have to like look into the sandbox to maybe even create a new testnet. Oh, it does work. Yes, it does work. Status success. So now we successfully like been able to transfer to this address. So if you can see it, all of this was also like logged. You see, the receipt status, the USDT confirmed, and the block that it's been done. Right. So now we've been able to use um, our USDC contracts. So come here. Just mentioned earlier, right? As I mentioned, we can import the contract directly from the Bonadocs contract. So as long as you have it inside the playground already, just use the name of the contract that you use here, right? And you would see the address. You'll be able to destructure it rather, the address and the API. So if you want to do for die also is similar. You like do Bonadocs the contract with die, then do die address, API, die API. So that way we are able to perform that transaction and successfully send USDT to a different address. So everybody that wants to like integrate this into their app already have like a playbook to use. They can just like copy and paste it into their app, their own code base, and enable that interaction. Um, so I have a delivery outside. I know this is like heavily unplanned, even for me it's unplanned, but I have delivery outside and I think I want to pick the item quickly before it has to jump.
Okay, no problem. Just you can go on to that. Wait for you. Okay. All right. All right. So while we're waiting for David to be our to be back, are you guys picking up a couple things from the screen? So Bonadocs is this sort of tools, and you can see from his explanation, from the demos, that we have like a bunch of things packed into one. We've got there is the what's it called? There's the dog gen part. Then there is the playground where you can actually interact with smart contracts and use their methods in the playground and explore them. I think I can also share my screen and play around with that. Just let me do that quickly if I can. So in case you're a developer and you're building, these are the sort of things that you want to be hearing, right? Tools that make your life easy. There's one other stuff that I think maybe we'll jump onto once he's back. That is there. So I think you should be able to see my screen now. Okay, I'm sharing my screen until when David is back. So there's the doc gen. So the doc gen allows you to take the. I'm just doing a quick recap, and then so you have like doc gen allows you to go from just having a code base, and you can integrate and ship a documentation easily. And all it requires you to do is to configure your stuff, import this add at plugin. So add at is the framework for working with smart contracts, where you have like some tools available to you to integrate and make your life easy. Once you install this plugin, you can import it into your add at config. Then you make some particular configuration. And I think the documentation does a good job at running through what that is. Then there's this sample docs right here that was generated using the docgen plugin. So you see that these are smart contract methods, right? The governor, you see it has a proposal count, a proposal, a couple interesting things, and then there is the widgets. And once you click try it out, the try it out opens this environment where you can interact with the smart contract. This is similar to when you have Postman, or when you have other documentation where, for example, you're dealing with a Swagger. If you're a backend dev, this might be familiar to you. If you're a front end dev, you've seen that they will have given you like a documentation link. Swagger is a popular one that is being used, and there are other ones that you can actually use, or they just send you a Postman collection with the API. Then you go interact with it. Sort of like the same thing. And some of these methods look like things that you might not want to click around, but I'm sure. Okay, this is currently in the simulator mode, so it's going to simulate the interaction, and then you can maybe do a proper connect to query to mainnet. And when you click on connect wallets, it triggers to connect to your wallet and run those stuff. So this is one way that you can actually interact with the tool. Then there is the widget. The widget is what we just explored, right? Where we do documentation, protocol contracts, very great, but you want to be able to test it and know if it gives you the response you need. You can actually use things like Remix and all the stuff to quickly run a quick test. But what if you can just do that directly in the documentation? And that is what I think this Bonadocs widget actually does. Still waiting for David to show up. And I think we're actually up on time anyways. So maybe once it comes around, we just round up the stream. Hopefully you guys have gotten something. Then the powerhouse, which is the playground. And I think that was what we spent a number of times explaining. The playground is like this suite where you can actually create a project. You can get contract addresses of live deployed contracts on mainnet, and then you can interact with them in this environment. So imagine you can pull the contract for Aave, pull the contract for Uniswap, pull the contract for whatever protocol you want to explore. Then you create an environment for them here, and then you use their live contracts, what they have on the mainnet, and then you can simulate the thing and test it out. Once they are good, you can now use it in your project. If you don't want to do that, it could be the contract that you have written. You probably deployed it to testnet or something. You can actually plug it in here, and then maybe invite a couple people into the team to test the contract with you, which is the power of this, where you can actually have multiple people play around with the contract in their environment in one place. And the documentation does a good job at that. So you have variables that you can use to add like key things that you want to just replace in the code and repetitive things, what variables does anyways. Then the protocol registry, I think this is the part that he did at first, where you can find popular protocols and you just click on them, and then it opens them directly inside Bonadocs for you to explore. So, the common ones I think they have here is, Curve, Pendle, Sushi, Balancer, Uniswap, Aave, etc. Packages, like I said, you can use the packages this is the docgen and the widget. Those are the two things that they have right now at Bonadocs. Okay, so this has been a wonderful time. I hope you guys have learned a couple of things, and we're going to bring more people to share what they're working on, and also have like demo sessions like this, and also learn from actual tools. Then maybe last time we did something with stablecoins, and I know you guys loved it because I saw the views on YouTube and I realized that, okay, you guys love stablecoins now. Interesting. So for our next workshop, we might be having something in that regard of stablecoins. And also we released a link where we're asking that if you want to be on a live stream like this, you can claim a spot. You can reach out to us and tell us about your project or what kind of interesting thing you feel like you have right now that you want people to hear and see. It's a technical workshop. It's would appreciate if it's technical, but if it's not technical, just reach out to us regardless. If it's something that we can work with as well, we'll let you know. So it's been a wonderful time, and I really hope that you guys got something. The Bonadocs is a very fantastic user experience, developer experience project that should be explored if you are working on smart contracts. Give it a test, give it a shot, and you can share the experience you are experiencing with David. He's a builder, and he would appreciate comments like this. If you want to check it out, let me leave the links to Bonadocs again in the chat so that in case you want to give it a shot. I think I did. So that'll be bonadocs.com. Okay, so thank you so much for being part of this stream. Oh, David is back.
Yeah, I apologize because it's also he didn't tell me that he was on his way already. I'd have told him not to.
It's fine. I think I did a little bit of walkthrough of your docs, and I kind of rounded up the session. And because we're actually up on time, it's already 6:04, and around time we. Is there like a last statement or comment you want to give the audience in case that there's something?
Yeah. I think for us right now, the big part of people currently using Bonadocs, they use the actions because it basically allows them to share JavaScript and basically enables them to share it and enable external people to like call that script interacting with the contract. So yeah, I think everybody should like get their hand dirty with the playground, especially with the actions, and basically just understand how do you convert the smart contract into an actual application, right? So yeah.
Awesome. I told them that you would appreciate feedback as well. So when they use it, what's the best way to give you feedback on the project or tell you about what they loved and probably what they would want to features or things like that? What's the right way? Community or somewhere they can go to?
Yes, so you can either reach out to me directly or you can join the community on our Twitter page. From there, you'll be able to like see the community on the bio. Even though we're going to be making a little bit of change to that and move our community to a new community. But yeah, you just join that link and you will be up to date with whatever changes we're making.
Okay, the link is right? Where is the link? On your Twitter page or your Twitter bio? Where is it?
Yeah, go to Bonadocs Twitter page.
Okay.
Yeah, Bonadocs Twitter page. At Bonadocs, basically. The community link is right there.
Okay, I'm just gonna share that with everybody so we can have it. All right, thank you so much, David. Really appreciate you taking time to come do this. We would love to have you sometimes again on the stream. When you have more stuff you want to share, we'll definitely talk about that. Thanks so much. And
okay, so just before we jump, let me share this playground with us so that people can also like open it and test it out. So I'll delete this and I will delete this. So I'll leave just the VM action that we created that transfers USDT.
Okay.
And we publish this to the server and we have the link here. Right, so anybody here can also like play with this playground. Talk of dog food in our project.
Yeah. Okay, so now you can go play around with that particular action we tested live on the stream, just in case you're curious about it. And David is eager to hear what you think. Thank you so much for being part of this, David. I appreciate your time. And that concludes the stream. See you guys on the next one. And you can also ship that, like I said, we have a form now. You probably have gotten it in your mail, or you can just DM us on Twitter if you want to be part of this program, part of this live stream. We will be happy to hear from you and feature or bring you up for a workshop or something. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, David, and every other person. Cheers.
Yeah, bye.